Welcome to the Broken Sun. The convoy is roaring down the road here. It's 3 trucks. Each truck is, this is the correct convoy. So it's 3 trucks. The trucks are flanked by armed and armored vehicles. You've got like motorcycle type things. You've got hovering drones, all armed with weapons and stuff like that. The trucks themselves are, of course, armored vehicles. They're not armed themselves. And you can see the Thetacom logo on the escort units.
Do we have...
So they've got,
do we have parade floats with synchronized dancers?
Nothing quite so exciting, but, maybe a few of the people are dancing in their seats. What are the loads that you're bringing for this?
I would say so.
You're not trying to sneak, right?
Yeah, not at all.
Not really.
You're not trying to blend in, so I would say this is probably the situation where heavy makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, how many weapons do I want?
Let's get loaded for bear. All of the weapons were heavy.
We'll figure that out once it becomes relevant. So at this point, you all got a heavy load, the 3 of you?
Mm-hmm. I already have one item ticked off because it's the one item that is always ticked off.
Yeah, you've got that. Your favorite gun.
Yeah.
We love it. Love that.
Okay. So where are the 3 of you while these trucks are roaring down the street with their escort?
I'm going to be... Are we
I just imagine Crate is like...
Just in the road.
No, I was just imagining him by the side of the road playing basketball.
That's so him.
He's like... further up the road where there's like a basketball court, and he's like just dribbling that ball.
Is
This area is very abandoned,
okay,
so that image is extra funny to
I
me.
love that so much. There's not even like a net, it's just the backboard.
Yeah, well, on all the it's a little, there's some wire left, so he can like do some sick slam dunks by himself.
Oh yeah.
Is the ball solid or does it need some air?
Ooh, he's cheating.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like imagine that it's like not actually like a regular basketball. Like somehow it's like filled with like helium or something. I don't know how you would do like mess with a basketball to make it really like in your favor. I'm sorry. I'm
positioned near a back chokehold with a detonator.
Okay.
I'm going to box them in while Crate hits them from the front.
Sounds good.
All right.
Sounds good.
Where's Augustus?
Oh, Crate will like totally like as a distraction like accidentally like lose his basketball in the middle of the road. So it's just like
He's dressed like a school child.
No, he's like wearing like
Got a lollipop.
he's wearing like,
He's got like
Pulls out the satchel folk hat like Ash Ketchum.
he's got the windmill hat. Oh yeah. Love
he's
it.
got like this satchel folk hat on and like but he's wearing like these sweat wristbands
But also like
and like
body
gym
armor
shorts.
because you have a heavy load.
Yeah, this is true. He is probably
I
wearing
love it.
body armor, but he's still wearing those wrist sweatbands.
He's wearing Kevlar underneath like a Gumboy t-shirt.
He's got the Gumboy jersey.
Yeah, it's a jersey with like
Amazing.
on the like it has Gumboy on the front, like, but then like what would the numbers be?
It's up to you. All right. As the lead truck approaches and the escort, you find, and here's the risky part, that you are dragged into the sim. You all suddenly find yourselves in the sim here. And in the sim, this place looks very different, almost as if the lad trucks are manipulating the sim in some way as they pass through these abandoned regions.
I figured out the number. It's 801.
For boy. Yes.
Very good. So in this area of the sim that you find yourselves pulled into, you can see that it is a lot like a desert. There is basically no cover in this sim here, in this area. There are a couple of, mesas and things like that in the distance. But, beyond a few boulders, this is not an easy place to hide. So you're pulled into the sim, you feel a ping because you've been identified as not authorized. This is the risky position you're in. The escort and the trucks know that there is someone around that shouldn't be here. They haven't necessarily spotted you yet. But this leaves you, Crate, standing in the middle of the desert with a basketball in front of an oncoming rush of trucks and military vehicles.
I'm sorry, I'm just imagining this. Okay. Is there like a cactus that Crate could like contort himself into like the shape of and hide behind?
If that becomes necessary, for sure. I didn't hear yet where Augustus was.
Augustus is probably with a slip ready to try to jam signals so they can't call for backup.
Okay.
Augustus has a giant rocket launcher, but instead of having rockets in it, it has huge jars of jam to shoot and jam their instruments.
Strawberry.
Yes.
Nah, grape's where it's at.
Grape is way more Augustus's speed.
The grape is the superior.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so Crate, the lead trucks are going to see you, unless you wish to resist that.
Naya, punch that truck.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, he'd probably let me look at the descriptions again.
So if you want to not be spotted, you'll need to resist that with, I think,
scramble
prowess.
to position or away from. So he's gonna scramble into an area where there is a cactus and position himself in the same shape as that cactus. So he looks kind of like a cactuar.
Okay.
I'm sorry, people that think I'm pronouncing that wrong. I'm sorry.
That's quite all right. All right, so you're going to, let's see, you're in a risky position. This will be standard effect. So, roll your scramble. See if you can hide behind that cactus at risky and standard. Okay.
4.
You got a 4. That's not too bad.
It's mixed.
Yeah, mixed success. What should this look like?
I bet that it's actually a cactuar, so he's... It's going to make that noise that I can't do an imitation of.
So you can choose to take the level 1 harm perforated as you dive into the cactus and get, poked with a whole bunch of spines, or you can attempt to resist that harm with your prowess.
Oh, I think that the best thing about that cactus is it's so good. So good.
What's good about the cactus?
Oh, just that it's funny.
So do you want to resist that harm, or are you going to take the harm?
I might as well try to resist it.
All right, so click the prowess button on your character sheet there. Okay,
Ooh.
So you take 1 stress, and you are not perforated. As you dive towards the cactus, you notice those sharp spikes sticking out of it and do a sweet little pirouette, just like you've been practicing on the basketball courts, to avoid getting a foul, in this case the foul being fouling your body with cactus spikes.
Yes.
You are successfully hidden behind the cactus in the desert. The convoy starts to slow down, and you can hear that people are making noises inside. People are starting to gear up and get ready because they are aware that there are unauthorized people nearby. So some of the motorcycles in the lead split off. There are 2 motorcycles in the lead and 2 motorcycles in the back. The 2 in the front split off and start scouting around looking for people. The 2 in the back likewise split off from the convoy, leaving the convoy of 3 trucks guarded by 2 basically APCs with machine guns on the top and presumably armed troops inside.
Sorry, that was all in all caps. Something I just typed to you. Sorry.
Yeah, that sounds like something you could do a flashback about.
So as they're searching around, we flash back like 5 seconds ago when Crate was somewhat in everyone's line of sight. And as he dashes away to hide, he has left the basketball in the middle of what was once the road and in their way of coming. And it's just sort of sitting there. And if you were to zoom in really close and listen, you might hear a faint
Okay.
noise coming from the inside of it.
Are you going to declare that you have a detonator, or are you going to do a flashback to something bigger than that?
Yeah, Crate has a detonator in, like, it's like a remote detonator.
Okay. So just check off detonator on your gear sheet.
Ah, there it is.
Okay. When are the bombs supposed to go off?
No, it's a remote detonator so that when someone gets closer, he can...
Okay. What about the bombs that you've set up in the back for Slip and Augustus?
Well, we were supposed to be trapping them in the hull, but now that we're in the desert, we wanted to box them in, and so now we're going to have to repurpose the detonators. So there's the convoy of 3 trucks and then 2 APCs that are left?
Yeah. And the motorcycles are looking for you.
I might be able to put one of the APCs somewhere else to remove it from the equation entirely.
Okay.
What if I wanted to bury the APC in the sand using my mind powers?
That is also something you could try to do. It sounds like it would probably be an attune in this situation.
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, so you want to bury one of the APCs in sand.
Yes.
You are currently in a risky position. I think an APC is pretty big. You're looking at limited effect at the moment.
But what if
Unless
I
you want to
pushed myself?
Yeah, well, you could push yourself for greater effect for sure.
Now,
and bring it up to standard.
I can spend a gambit instead of paying a stress cost. So can I spend a gambit to push myself?
Well, ask your team.
Is that all right with everyone? We have 1 gambit or 2?
You have 2 as the start of a mission.
Is it cool with everyone if I burn a gambit to try to just knock this thing out?
Do it.
Oh, sure.
Well, there you go.
Okay. Risky standard then.
That's a 5.
As a 5. Okay. So as you are attuning and you succeed, so tell us what this looks like.
So realizing that we're now in the simulation, Slip's like eyes start to go all glitchy behind the glitchy, and so they pull down the goggles and then they turn their attention to the convoy, like while ducking behind some rocks while the motorcycles are going across the dunes, and just sort of nod very hard in the direction of one of the APCs, and then just like a pool of quicksand forms underneath it, and it just sucks it down.
All right. The APC's treads dip down in the front into the whirlpool, and it sort of flips over and lands on its top in the quicksand and starts sinking below. This has neutralized this ABC and APC, and hopefully the troops inside. I say hopefully because actually it hasn't, and the back door is still able to open, and 6 armed Thetacom soldiers come out. You are now in a desperate position because they have seen you.
Heck yeah.
How close would you say that they are to the basketball?
In the front truck is probably, maybe I was going to use meters, but then I remembered you're all American.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah, sorry.
Maybe like 10 feet away.
Okay.
And when you say front truck, do you mean like the lead APC or one of our shipment trucks?
One of the shipment trucks.
All right.
Oh, yeah, we don't want to blow that one up yet.
We want the full 6 cred this time.
Yeah. I just want to point out, though, that he was playing basketball with a basketball that had a bomb in it.
That is great. He is mostly meat. He is immune to explosions. That's one of the cool character caveats.
Isn't he technically related to Tully?
Yeah, you have this thing with
basically
large burly men. I don't know what it is, Colleen.
Meat
But you
boys,
play-
as one would say.
You play crazy meat boys.
I don't know why. It's just because I'm like trying to like harken back to some sort of moment in my childhood where this would have been like significant about why, but I'm coming up empty.
Well, Tabletop role-playing can often be a avenue to self-discovery and a basic form of initial therapy.
Heck yeah.
Not to, of course, replace actual therapy.
No,
Yeah.
Just a first step.
definitely go to therapy, guys.
At least your
Yes.
meat boys don't collect body parts.
Yep.
This time.
At least this one does not. Tully, on the other hand, collected various body parts.
Did he?
Oh yeah, he did.
He
I
had
recant that statement.
He had a monomolecular whip,
Yeah.
like a dark Eldar.
You mean whip?
But it's not.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't speak properly.
It's not like he brought those body parts home, unlike a different character.
Fair enough. CD is the most insane.
The one that we're most concerned about, for
Yeah.
sure.
I'm very concerned for their well-being.
Okay, so what's happening? Otherwise, I got to do stuff at you.
Crate is like timing his things because he doesn't want to detonate that one. But he might be like, how close is he to those soldiers that got out of what I'm imagining looks like a tank, but it's...
The zone of engagement right now is maybe 2 blocks long, so you're like a block and a half away from them.
Okay. Well, I know that I already declared my regular gun.
You've still got 4 slots of space.
Yeah. I could always have a sniper rifle and try to snipe someone from behind the cactus.
You could do that.
Oh, I guess I will. Now it has 2 boxes. Does that mean that I have to take up 2 boxes for it, or it's...
Yeah, it takes 2 load because it's a sniper rifle. There's also the highly illegal heavy blaster option.
Oh.
We are not allowed to have those.
Yeah.
And you have an RPG as well, Zarathustra, a detonator launcher, which is basically a grenade launcher as an option.
Yeah, I think it's so hard.
I mean,
because
there are no problems in life that can't be overcome with heavy ordnance.
I just want
That's the Imperial Guard talking.
I want to point out that my inner violent meat boy is saying that the detonator launcher is the way to go.
Then go with it.
It's okay. Yeah, I mean,
Would that we
Okay.
all had inner meat boys.
lo, but I am but an outer meat boy.
Well, the inner meat boy of mine used to get me in trouble in middle school because, the stories I could tell. But that's neither here nor there. So Crate is going to use his detonator launcher and shoot at some thugs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Give him the explosion.
Sounds like this is scrap.
Tis indeed.
I believe the proper term is dunk some scrub lords.
There it is. That is how Crate talks.
Time to dunk some scrub lords.
God, he's such a gamer.
Please
Leet.
Pokemon.
That's a game. You mean Satchel Folk?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I didn't.
Okay. I think you are firing on they're just people now. They're probably wearing body armor, but they're not inside of a tank. And you're firing a grenade launcher at them. So I think this is going to be great effect, but it's a risky position because you could always get discovered or maybe miss.
Don't
There's
miss.
lots of different options.
Please don't miss.
So yeah, risky great with your
Hey,
scrap.
mini crit.
You got a 5. That's good.
It's a mini crit, Matt. Call it what it is.
2 5s. Okay, let's see
We
here.
call this the inner meat boy success.
It's like you knew you were going to kill them. It was just you didn't account for the absolute destruction.
I mean, I don't.
Does Crate know the reference of the name of his grenade launcher, Zarathustra?
Nope. Because
Ooh.
I don't.
I kind of feel like he doesn't. But
I don't think Crate
just
would.
wondering
No,
what
he
you think.
wouldn't get
Oh.
it either. What is it? Please enlighten us.
Oh, okay. Have you heard of Thus Spoke Zarathustra?
It's Nietzsche.
Ah. Okay.
Yeah, it's a novel by Friedrich Nietzsche. The eternal recurrence of the same, the parable on the death of God, and the prophecy of the Übermensch, and so on and so forth. There's a song about it too. So anyway, yeah, I feel like Crate probably doesn't know
I
that.
think that's just the name of the model of it,
Mhm.
but he has like a different name for it. Like
Hank.
Hank.
no,
Hank the Shank.
was trying to think of a new satchel folk.
Oh,
What are the explosive satchel folk?
I was gonna say crater.
Craterzard?
Craterzard.
Craterzard.
Craterzard. That's it. Put that down, kids.
There's also, of course, the song, also Sprach Zarathustra, which is the song from 2001, the same with the monkeys. Anyway, thus spoke Zarathustra, and destruction rains down upon these armored guards, and they're blown in every direction. I would say with the great effect in your success here, they're all thoroughly dead.
Excellent. Keeping in ties with the low body count we wanted.
One of the bodies flies and arcs through the air towards you and crashes into the cactus, pinning you below it, giving you the level 2 harm. Crushed.
No. Not poked.
Stabby crush. It's like being in an Iron Maiden.
It's very unpleasant.
The Green Maiden.
You can, of course, attempt to resist this effect.
The Green Maiden of the.
I'm gonna call it the Iron Maiden. Oh, I can resist it? Sure.
Yo, Green Maiden of the Dunes would be a sick band name or album name.
Yeah, you can always attempt to resist unless it's the...
Yeah. Excuse me, I have to quickly write something down.
So yeah, you can resist with your prowess here.
Ooh, I got a 4.
Okay, so you take 2 stress, and that is reduced to the level 1 harm here.
Poked.
I'm going to say the level 1 harm is battered. You dodge out of the way of the falling cactus, but you're still like clonked by their helmet, and that sends you sprawling on the sand behind you. So you've been battered, level 1 harm, which will affect your effect for any physical stuff you're trying to do.
But this helmet doesn't start talking in like a...
No,
voice.
it's a dead person's helmet
Oh my
with a dead person
God.
inside it.
We must stop.
Listen, we're in single digits. We're okay.
Yeah.
Everything is fine.
You're at 6 at the moment, is the body count here.
awesome. Everything is great when you're part of a team.
Augustus. One of the APCs has been flipped. All of its inhabitants have been dispatched. There's still one more APC, presumably with another 6 guards inside of it, and 4 motorcycles circling around. The motorcycles have guns on them, so they're presumably heading back towards the sound of explosions, and will probably discover you swiftly.
I'm not sure if there's a mechanic for this, but I have 2 pew-pews, and I think I'd like to use them to lay down covering fire and start, like, scattering up, sand to obstruct the motorbikes.
That sounds like a setup action to me.
Yeah.
All right, let me just pull up setup actions here.
I'll spook them.
So basically, when you do setup actions, you are increasing the position or effect of the next person who acts on a similar narrative thing. So the covering fire, you're trying to... Where is it directed? At the APCs and the trucks, or are you trying to distract the motorcycles?
The motorcycles, because I feel like they're going to try to come in close.
Okay. So this is probably scrap, and a setup action works just like any other action. I think you are still in a risky position. You personally have not been spotted yet, so this will have a risky and a standard effect. If you succeed, it will reduce the effect or improve the effector position for whoever's dealing with these motorcycles next, or someone dealing with some situation that would narratively involve these motorcycles. Okay, you got a 5. Oh,
Got a 2.
no, you got a 2.
I'm not scrappy.
You don't have scrap.
But you did shoot your gun though.
Yep. So you fire your gun in an attempt to distract the motorcycles, and you do it. The motorcycles are now all heading towards Augustus.
Good job.
You are in a desperate position. So that's what happens there, Augustus. You are now a clear target. They have seen you once you started firing your weapons around. It was basically like a rallying call to bring them in your direction. Motorcycles will be here shortly with their guns, and the people on them, they're helmeted, they're wearing motorcycle armor, and you see one of them gets out what looks like just a little tube, and they flick it, and it extends into a lance, and the tip of the lance is sparking as well. So they're coming to joust you with their spark lances.
You're gonna get couched, my friend. It will be gory.
All right. You hear from the lead truck. Well, you don't necessarily hear from the lead truck, but you can see if you're looking at the lead truck and all of the other trucks, the drivers are frantically yelling into radios and communication devices. And the other APC is rotating its turret towards. Well, there's only one person who's exposed right now. Yeah, so they're rotating their turret also towards Augustus. But hey, you're close to Slip, right?
Yeah, I'm there to help at all times.
Good. So the turret is rotating towards the both of you, is getting ready to spool up and destroy you. What would the three of you like to do?
What if instead I gave it a grenade?
That's an option. You have those explosives set up.
Yeah. Let's blow up the back APC.
Okay. So you are still in a risky position. I think the effect here, the APC is not parked directly over the explosives. And because you are in the sim now, while in the real world there may be building blocks tumbling down and blocking them in the back, there isn't much to fall down on them here. So I would say this is risky and limited effect. It may confuse them or damage them to some extent, but it's not going to destroy this APC.
Okay, what action roll would that be?
This is probably scrap, right? Or it might be... Well, what do you think it would be?
I think it might be Skulk because it's a sneaky thing I'm doing. I'm not engaging them directly.
I think with Skulk, there might not be any...
Oh, there's no way to attack with Skulk?
I mean, you can, but the effect will be very low. Like your position might be worse, or your effect would be like none. You'd have to push yourself for limited effect.
Oh, I see.
I think what you could maybe do with this is either rig to demonstrate that you have planted this bomb and like programmed it, or scrap to indicate that you're blowing up a bomb, you're doing violence.
What if I spent 3 stress to side dance everyone in the APC?
What do you hope to accomplish? Tell me what that will do.
I can cloud a target's mind and sway them in the face of contradictory evidence, and I can make it work on a small group. And so I can make us...
Okay.
I'll just probably give us a moment. I'll make it so that we look like we're somewhere else, and I'll fire at a phantom.
Okay. You can probably... Okay, a small group would be like 3 people, so you can probably get the gunner and the driver in on this, but not necessarily all of the troops in the APC. So at least you could get the gunner and the driver to start shooting in the wrong direction or to change the trajectory of their turret, if that's what you wish to do.
That'll work for now.
Okay. So then that'll be side dancing, and you take the stress. And okay, so what features are you using here? So you're pushing yourself for 2, and then 1 more for it works on a small group.
Yep.
Okay. So the APC turns its cannon, its machine gun, it starts turning it away from Augustus and Slip and out towards the middle of the desert, and it starts firing on nothing.
And also I start crawling toward the trucks.
Good thinking. What's Crate going to do now?
Has any, hostile gotten closer to the basketball?
Nobody's moving now. They've stopped because there's an attack happening.
Okay.
They're trying to fight you off. So there's the APC and there's 2 motorcycles that are close to you. You could maybe convince somehow or trick one of the motorcycles into going over there, or try and get 2 of them over there with some kind of decoy. Because there's 2 coming from near where you are, and then there's 2 in the back heading towards Augustus.
Okay. And now I could also go ahead and try to destroy them myself with just my regular gun.
Also an option.
Since they're close enough that they could probably take my regular handgun.
You're at 3 stress.
I could always push myself. Yeah, I could always push myself to perform a feat of physical force that verges on the superhuman, or engage a small gang on equal footing in close combat. But that's all pretty up close and personal fighting instead of using...
Well, a feat of physical force that verges on the superhuman is fairly broad. Is there something you had in mind?
Maybe Matrix style shooting them. Somehow time is slowing down while he shoots his gun at them. These bullets slowly come towards them, and I'll hit them and dispatch them.
So that can just be how Crate sees himself when he fights. Unstoppable is more for stuff like lifting a really heavy gate, or pushing a car out of the way, or wrestling a bear.
Emrin stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well then, you're just gonna use the regular scrap to shoot them with the gun, blaster pistol.
Make them into scrap.
Okay. So you're firing on one of the motorcycles, or firing on the two motorcycles closer to you, I guess.
Yeah.
With Gumboy, a fine blaster pistol.
Yes.
Okay. So they are wearing armor, which would make it limited effect, but Gumboy is a fine blaster pistol, which would make it standard effect again.
Precision.
And it's risky.
Yeah. You are still risky at the moment. But, sorry. You're also battered, which would bring it back down to limited effect.
Oh.
So you're at risky limited with Gumboy there.
Okay. So re-roll that again.
You don't need to re-roll it. We can keep that roll. The effect would be different. Okay. So you got 4 on limited effect with a scrap. So what does it look like as you are firing on them with Gumboy? What does Gumboy look like?
Have we described a canon color for Gumboy, or is he just sort of like a fleshy pink color?
Flesh-colored, Colleen.
Yeah, Gumboy's color is officially flesh. That's all we know.
Okay, so this gun that comes out, that Crate pulls out from his holster, is like this odd flesh-colored thing. And I mean, it looks kind of like a regular blaster pistol, but as it fires, it does that Gumboy! Gumboy!
That's the worst.
As the bullets come, but as the bullets hit into someone, they kind of make a fleshy sound, like the sound of almost a clap, but with more flesh to it.
So Gumboy shoots hands. So it's hands then.
So you're not just throwing hands; you're shooting hands.
We shoot hands out here.
Oh, but they've got enough of piercing of thing to them. It's just,
Okay. You'll notice I've started a clock up here for Thetacom's reinforcements, because the truck drivers were calling for help. It's at 1 tick at the moment. So you have fired on the motorcycle. You've had limited effect. You've rolled a 4. The gun makes a horrible noise. The motorcycle changes position once the first bullet hand slaps it, and it wobbles a little bit and changes its direction, and it snaps out. They snap out their spark lance as well, and are bearing down towards you, firing the gun that's on one side of the motorcycle.
Ooh, I have an idea now.
The bullets that you are firing at the motorcycle are enough to divert it from running you through with a spark lance, but not enough to actually disable this motorcycle. So it rushes past you and does a sick jump over the remains of the cactus, and then it is looping around to come in for another go at you. So this motorcycle, you are now in a desperate position, because the two motorcycles are coming at you. One of them's coming from behind, the other one's coming from in front of you. That is your consequence there.
Okay.
What else is happening around here, Augustus? What do you think?
Would I be able to use the spy gear to either jam the truck signal, or at least delay the reinforcements?
You can do that. There are 2 motorcycles trying to kill you right now, but you can absolutely do that.
It would be super sick if you did, though.
Yeah.
And you get extra cool points. That would mean that you level up.
I'm always about those cool points.
And don't forget, if you're in a desperate position and you make a roll, you should mark experience in that attribute.
Them's being the cool points.
Mm-hmm.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking long game. I'm gonna try to jam that signal before I have even more motorcycles up in my grill.
Sure. So you can declare your spy gear, and then we'll put you in. So you're in a desperate position. And what kind of action do you want to roll for this?
Would I be able to use a tune, or would that be more hack?
It's probably more hack, or it's probably the most hack. You could try to use a tune on it.
None more hack.
Yeah. I think with a tune it would be limited, because you're not like a weird mystic. But with hack it would be standard.
What do you mean? What are you saying?
You got those brain powers. You got the hookup.
I'm not weird.
I'm gonna go for the hacks.
Unique.
Damn. Brutal.
So your desperate standard hack. Give it a shot.
Wow.
Whoa. That's an anti-crit, which means that
Okay.
she actually rolled a crit.
All right. You've rolled a 1. You're not having a lot of luck with your dice today, or last time, or the time before that.
I don't
I think we've established that Roll20 is haunted.
Roll20.
For this game in particular.
Someone has put the Maluki on this game, man.
But apparently Roll20 kind of likes Crate
Let's keep it going.
a little bit.
Keep being weird.
All right, so two things happen. One thing is that your spy gear shorts out from being in the desert here. It's not quite up to snuff. Whoever sold you this is going to get a piece of your mind later. But the spy gear shorts out, and instead of jamming the transmission, it actually enhances it. It boosts the transition, acting as a little, amplifier. So I'm going to add some ticks here to the reinforcements clock there, bring it up to 3 out of 6.
But what if it didn't do that?
Well, there's two things. So wait until you hear the other thing before you decide what you want to do here.
Boy.
The other thing is you get run over by a motorcycle with a spark lance.
So good. Love that. That's a good thing.
Which would give you, unfortunately, the level 3 harm impaled.
Yep. And shocked. Or does the shocking come after? Is that a second part of the gift of receiving the lance?
It all happens at once.
Okay. The pain is indescribable.
Yeah, it's very unpleasant.
What if I were wearing armor?
Ooh.
Wearing armor can certainly help in this situation. You can resist one or both of these things. Slip, you're nearby. You could also help with resisting on one of these if you wanted to.
That's fine.
I will resist. How does one do that again?
Well, first off, you've got you're declaring armor, right?
Yes.
Okay. So armor, let's see, you use armor in place of resisting, as I recall. So, okay. I think the armor will reduce it to level 1 harm for that. So the armor will reduce it to level 1 harm. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not trampled because it's not a horse.
Bender.
Run over or run
thunder
over?
Run
Bender.
over, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can say run over. The motorcycle runs you down, but the lance is turned aside by your armor. So there's this fantastic electric blue crackle of energy that goes over your armor. Your hair stands up on end. It, makes a mess of some of your outfit here in the sim, and you're knocked down, but you're not killed, fortunately. And did somebody say they wanted to do something about the transmission?
That's not Crate's forte necessarily. I was gonna have.
I doubt Crate will have even noticed.
Yeah.
Because Crate's on the opposite end of the convoy, 2 blocks away from Augustus and Slip.
Who's closer to the shipment truck?
I'm crawling there.
Yeah, Slip's crawling towards it. You do also have an armed transport smuggling ship somewhere nearby, just as a reminder.
Yeah. Sorry, I just had a revelation of stupid meatheads that were instrumental of my childhood.
There we go.
We'll get to the bottom of this.
Yeah. Anyway, would it be possible to... Well, I can't do anything because Crate probably wouldn't have noticed. But I could do something else, which would be he's going to try to make it to the shipment truck.
Okay, so you're going to head towards that while the motorcycles are coming towards you?
Yes.
Okay, let's see.
Character sheet.
I think you're probably going to have to do this with Scramble because you are in plain view of 2 attackers who are bearing down on you with their weapons.
Yeah, and
so if you want to get away from them and get towards the truck.
Yeah, this is probably desperate, I assume.
Yep.
And then it's limited, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're in the sand. The only cover is the trucks that you're trying to rob from at this point, and there's 2 swift motorcycles bearing down on you.
Hey.
Oh.
Not bad. So, make sure you and also Augustus, you mark experience for your desperate rolls there.
Yeah.
So you would, Crate would mark that experience under prowess because it was scramble.
Wait, does that also relate to the earlier one where I forgot to mark it?
I don't know if you were in a desperate position earlier.
That was just risky.
Okay.
Yeah, it's only for desperate.
Okay.
So you are able to scramble away from the 2 incoming motorcycles. So they don't lance you, but you do get shot up a bit in the back. So that'll be a level 2 harm shot up from one of the motorcycles as you get over to the truck.
Okay.
You feel bullets pounding into your back.
I will just take that at this point.
Okay, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. How much load do you have left there?
I have 2 left.
Okay. Don't forget you can have armor,
Yeah.
which would negate that harm. But if you just want to take the harm,
Well,
that's fine
I
too.
guess I'll say the armor because it's not like there's any other weapons that I really need at this point.
Okay. So the bullets riddle your back, but they are saved from getting into your bod, into your meat, because you've got that armor in the way.
Right.
That the armor is now shot up. It's functionally useless at this point, but it did save you from that harm.
That precious, precious meat.
That crate meat. All right. The truck drivers are continuing to wait for reinforcements. You see on the distant horizon dust being kicked up, sand being kicked up into the sky. I'm adding a tick to the reinforcements clock.
This all seems so familiar.
Drums of the deep.
Yep.
Faint noises of guitar.
Oh no. I want to use some repair tools to just make it so that the APC can't follow us, but I want to do it sneaky like.
Okay. So you want to basically skulk under the APC?
That is my hope.
All right. So you haven't been discovered yet, so you're still in a risky position. And I think for skulking like this, we'll say it's standard.
That's a 6, everybody.
That is a 6. Add a new gambit point. You got 6 on a risky roll. That means you get another gambit point.
Woo! I'm going to use
Or
that gambit.
Just another gambit, I should say. And yeah, you solid snake your way right under that APC.
Julio. Then I start.
Augustus,
sorry.
Augustus, you're on the ground. You've been run over by a motorcycle. There's another motorcycle coming towards you. You appear to have been abandoned by your comrade Slip.
Yeah, I did that.
Would I be able to pew the incoming motorcycle?
Yeah, I mean, you can try. It's probably going to be a scrap. You've also got available to you flashbacks, other moves that might work. Don't feel like you're constrained to the thing that you're not good at.
Maybe I will try to attune.
Okay. What's your goal when you're attuning here?
I would like to try to get the motorcycle to just shut down. Maybe launch the rider off.
Okay. Interesting idea. So you're going to try and manipulate the simulation. So you're still in a desperate position, of course. I think this will be a standard effect at this point because this isn't the full simulation. This is whatever version of it that's like a private mini contained simulation. So I think you can have standard effect on this one.
Hey, finally.
All right. Good. You got a 4. So the motorcycle, the front wheel on the motorcycle, what happens to it?
It just stops. Like if you just like started pedaling backwards on a bicycle mid-ride.
Okay. It stops. The rider is thrown from the motorcycle and sort of flies over you and rolls along the ground. They look like they are doing okay. They've lost their shock lance, but they do get to their feet and start shaking themselves off. The motorcycle is stopped. They don't have access to that gun anymore. Their lance is gone, but that person is still, alive and aware and getting ready to come at you. I think you get a sudden migraine, which would be a level 2 harm.
For me?
From messing with the sim in this way. Yeah. That's the consequence from the incomplete success, which of course you can attempt to resist with your resolve.
I'll try to resist that migraine.
Okay, let's see how we do.
Now I do well.
There we go. That's a crit.
Yeah, so clear a stress. So you remove one of your existing stress. And you feel that migraine coming on. And how does Augustus tell that migraine to take a hike?
Augustus will just experience a sudden flush of years of alleged substance use and realize that, compared to the other stuff, a migraine is nothing.
Mm-hmm. All right. Don't forget to mark an experience point in resolve for that roll you did. Every time you do a desperate action, mark an experience point in that attribute. Okay. Let's see. Slip, you said you had a plan.
Yes, it is not a great plan, but it is a plan.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to rig the detonator, or did I already declare my detonators by setting up that bomb?
I mean, you had the detonators by setting up the bomb. Those bombs are just lying around. I don't know if you grabbed them somewhere.
I didn't say that I did, so I don't want to poo-poo that.
Well, you can flashback
Could be
it.
a flashback.
Yes, but I don't have any stress.
You don't. Okay. Honestly, I don't think this is a flashback that would require stress. It's just saying that as you were making your way towards the truck, you grabbed your detonator.
I mean, I did roll a 6.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly fine.
All right, then I have a detonator. And I'd like to rig it to the bottom of the APC to explode when I'm not within a certain radius of safety.
Okay. So risky standard for you still.
And that's another 6, boys.
That is another 6.
Boys, girls, and
Folks.
My people.
Oh.
My tribe.
All right, you affix the detonator to the weak point on the APC, whether you realize it or not. And
I definitely don't know that I've done that.
and it's good because the doors are just starting to open on the back of the APC to disgorge the rest of its troops now that the people inside are starting to shake off your mind trick from before. Your psi dance. Definitely not legally distinct from a mind trick.
It's completely different.
And I think you roll out from under the APC and just keep rolling until you're under the truck instead.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, that sounds fantastic. And also, I decapitate all my enemies.
Maybe not that, but you roll your way under the truck just in time for the detonation to go off, and the APC, it doesn't fly into the air. It's not that powerful of a detonator, and this is a heavy vehicle, but it jumps.
Love that.
And you hear the explosion and see fire explode out of the windows from the inside.
Oof. Cinematic.
Because of the way that you set that shape detonator. So there's a voomp and then a voomp.
Perfect.
As the glass shatters under the force of the pressure. Probably best not to look inside of that APC at this point.
I am not thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
It will haunt me later because I did not want anyone to die.
Yep. There's still 3 motorcycles riding around, but you have taken care of the APCs, and the reinforcements have not yet arrived. What do all of you do? Thank you for joining us for another episode of Stories of a Broken Sun, an actual play anthology series. Tonight, you heard the voices of OG Brown Sugar, whom you can find on Twitter at OG Brown Sugar. She played the character Augustus, whose pronouns are they and them. Salasdreas, whom you can find on Twitter at GoodSirBlood. They played Slip, whose pronouns are they and them. And Keekers, whom you can find on Twitter at BeASpaceCat. She played Crate, whose pronouns are he and him. And I'm Matt. My pronouns are he and him. You can find me on Twitter at YCaliber, or follow the show at Broken Sun RPG. If you like what you hear, please consider giving us a bit of support on Patreon at patreon.com/BrokenSunRPG. See you next time. Until then, all the best.